Welcome to Podcast Summaries, where every week we break down powerful ideas from 8 to 10 top podcasts to help you grow, heal, and thrive. If you find this summary helpful, please subscribe. Your support keeps this journey going. Here is a rundown on You're Not Gaining Weight Because You're Lazy, featuring Dr. Mehmet Oz by Jordan Peterson. Dr. Mehmet Oz, a renowned doctor and media personality, sat down with Jordan Peterson to discuss the changing media landscape and the corruption of legacy media. Dr. Oz shared his experience of being an early advocate for Jordan Peterson, despite facing opposition from his team. He recalled how his team members threatened to quit when he invited Jordan Peterson on his show, citing concerns about his views on compelled speech.
However, Dr. Oz stood firm, believing that big thinkers should be heard and that the public should be exposed to different ideas. Dr. Oz also discussed the importance of free speech and how it's being threatened in America. Dr. Oz emphasized that democracy is based on common truths, while totalitarian governments are based on common lies. He expressed his concern about the crisis in America and how it's an opportunity to put things right again. The conversation then shifted to Dr. Oz's career and how he transitioned from being a traditional doctor to a media personality. He shared how he shifted doing the Oprah show in 2003 and later shifted his own show in 2009. However, around 2012, he began to notice a big shift in the media landscape. Dr. Oz also discussed his experience with GMO food labeling and how he was attacked for advocating for transparency. He emphasized that he wasn't taking a stance against GMOs, but rather advocating for consumers to have the right to know what they're eating. He noted that every other Western country already had GMO labeling, and it wasn't a crazy or outlandish concept. The conversation highlighted the challenges that Dr. Oz faced in the media landscape and how he stood firm in his beliefs despite opposition. It also emphasized the importance of free speech and transparency in America. He points out that the attacks on him have been personal rather than focused on the issues at hand. Oz notes that he's not making a medical commentary on GMOs, but rather arguing for transparency in the process. He believes that the public has a right to know what's in their food and that manufacturers should be transparent about their ingredients. Oz also discusses the COVID-19 pandemic and how it highlighted the need for open discourse and debate. He notes that the scientific and medical communities were not willing to consider alternative ideas and that the legacy media played a significant role in suppressing dissenting voices. Oz believes that the pandemic showed us that we need to be more open to different perspectives and that we should be willing to challenge the status quo. The conversation also touches on the topic of prevention versus treatment in healthcare. Oz notes that the focus has been on treating diseases rather than preventing them, and that this approach has led to a lack of emphasis on prevention. He believes that prevention is key to improving healthcare outcomes and that we need to focus on making healthy choices rather than just treating diseases. Oz also discusses the impact of technology on the dissemination of information and how it has allowed for the spread of both good and bad ideas. He notes that bad ideas can be like bacteria, burrowing under the skin and causing harm if not exposed to light and oxygen. Oz believes that technology has allowed us to challenge dogma and incorrect ideas, and that this has been a positive development. The conversation also touches on the topic of metabolic syndrome and how it is the root cause of many chronic diseases. Oz notes that metabolic syndrome is a series of problems that occur when the body's ability to consume and use energy is off. He believes that people who have a healthy metabolism live longer and are less likely to develop diseases such as heart disease, Alzheimer's, and cancer. Oz also discusses the impact of diet on health and notes that people who are overweight often have trouble exercising and sleeping. He believes that we need to focus on making healthy choices and that we should not make being overweight a moral issue. Oz notes that he has shifted his attitude towards people who are overweight and now sees it as a complex issue rather than a moral failing. Oz believes that we need to challenge the status quo and be willing to consider alternative ideas in order to improve healthcare outcomes. He also notes that technology has allowed us to challenge dogma and incorrect ideas, and that this has been a positive development. He emphasized that the problem isn't the calories, but rather the nutrient density of the food. The brain disregards caloric intake and focuses on the nutrient density, which is why soft drinks aren't considered food by the brain. However, the calories still add up, and the high fructose corn syrup stimulates maladaptive processes. Oz noted that small errors, such as drinking one soda a day, can have a significant impact when repeated daily. On the other hand, small steps in the right direction can also have a profound effect. Oz discussed the nihilism surrounding health, where people feel ill and think there's no way out. He emphasized the importance of empowering individuals to take control of their health, rather than relying on medications or other crutches. Oz also talked about his foundation, HealthCore, which aims to promote health and wellness among young people. The organization uses a counterculture approach where young people are encouraged to reject unhealthy habits and instead focus on their own well-being.
Jordan Peterson noted that young people are often told that they have no agency in their lives, and that this can be incredibly demoralizing.
Oz agreed, stating that HealthCore aims to empower young people to take control of their health and their lives. He also discussed the importance of messaging, noting that young people are more likely to listen to someone who is close in age to them, rather than a lecturer. Oz shared his experience introducing HealthCore into schools, where he has seen a positive response from kids. He emphasized the importance of creating a system where it's easy to do the right thing, rather than relying on individual willpower. Oz also discussed the role of government in promoting health and wellness, noting that regulatory bodies should be responsive to the needs of the people.
Peterson brought up the issue of prevention, noting that it's difficult to give people credit for preventing problems.
Oz agreed, stating that the issue is not about getting credit, but rather about creating a system that makes it easy to do the right thing. He emphasized the importance of learning from different parts of the country and developing mechanisms to improve health outcomes.
The conversation turned to the topic of research and the NIAA, with Peterson expressing his concerns about the corruption of the research enterprise.
Oz noted that the NIAA should be supporting research that looks at effective tactics for promoting health and wellness, rather than just funding research that is ideologically pure.
Peterson discussed the replication crisis and the corruption of scientific journals, wondering if there is a pathway forward to rectify the situation.
Oz emphasized that the behavior of young people is often a reflection of the behavior of their professors and teachers. He noted that the education system should be mirroring good behavior, rather than perpetuating bad habits. The conversation highlighted the importance of empowering individuals to take control of their health and their lives, and the need for a system that supports and promotes wellness. They discussed how faculty members have retreated as administrators have advanced, leading to a lack of accountability and a focus on performative actions rather than actual change. The conversation also touches on the importance of humanism and the sacredness of individual life, highlighting the need for a uniting narrative that goes beyond materialism and power struggles. He also shares a thought-provoking question about saving a stranger versus a pet, which highlights the importance of humanism in our society. The conversation then shifts to the topic of postmodernism and its rejection of uniting narratives.
Jordan Peterson argues that this rejection is pathological, and that there are always uniting narratives at every level of human existence. He also discusses the importance of exploring archetypal stories and their relevance to modern society. Dr. Oz shares his personal experience of asking Jordan Peterson if he believed in God, and Jordan Peterson's response, "There better be." The conversation highlights the need for a deeper understanding of faith and its role in shaping our culture and society. The discussion also touches on the dangers of populism and the importance of orienting oneself to the highest possible good. Jordan Peterson emphasizes the need for a balance between interpersonal relationships and a higher orientation, highlighting the importance of treating others with divine value and loving them as oneself. They begin by discussing the concept of God and how it's often misunderstood by atheists who try to reduce it to a material, everyday object. The conversation then shifts to the idea that we see the world through a story, which is an incontrovertible fact demonstrated in multiple disciplines. Peterson argues that this realization is revolutionary and that it's partly why we have a culture war. He also discusses the concept of complementarity, which was originally a physics idea, and how it can be applied to understanding human behavior and the importance of sacrifice. Peterson shares an example of how this concept plays out in therapy, where he challenges patients to consider alternative perspectives and to sacrifice their own desires for the greater good. He also talks about the importance of community and how it's founded on sacrifice, citing the example of a bear that does what it wants without considering the needs of others. The conversation then turns to the topic of science and how it's fragile and unlikely to flourish without a foundation of belief in truth. Peterson argues that the scientific enterprise is in trouble and that the materialist atheist worldview is not conducive to scientific progress. He also discusses the importance of telling the truth, even when it's difficult, and how this is essential for scientific inquiry.
Dr. Oz shares a personal anecdote about his experience with vaccine debates and how he was surprised to find that the narrative around vaccines was more complex than he initially thought. He talks about the importance of considering alternative perspectives and the need for a more nuanced approach to scientific inquiry.
Throughout the conversation, Peterson and Dr. Oz engage in a thought-provoking discussion about the nature of reality, the importance of sacrifice, and the role of storytelling in shaping our perception. They challenge each other's ideas and offer insights into the complexities of human behavior and the importance of considering alternative perspectives. The woman had vaccinated her baby and believed it was helpful, but when asked if it was necessary on the first day of life, she began to question her decision.
Oz pointed out that the woman was going through a process that many Americans are experiencing, where they realize they don't fully understand an issue and have taken expert advice without questioning. The woman had already vaccinated her baby, so if she were to admit that it might not have been necessary, she would have to confront the possibility that she had done something wrong.
Peterson suggested that this is a difficult pill to swallow, and the evidence would have to be overwhelming for her to change her mind.
Oz agreed, stating that this is why he believes that when the truth comes out, it will be a tsunami. He thinks that the issue is starting to gain traction, particularly in Pennsylvania, where he was actively involved. The Maha movement, which is focused on questioning the safety and efficacy of vaccines, is gaining momentum and could have a significant impact on the political landscape.
Peterson pointed out that the movement is not just about vaccines, but about the broader issue of trust in institutions and the role of experts in shaping public policy. He noted that the woman's experience is not unique, and that many people are starting to question the advice of experts and the motivations of those in power.
Oz emphasized that the issue is personal and emotional, particularly for mothers who are concerned about the health and well-being of their children. He believes that the Republican Party has an opportunity to capitalize on this issue and attract a new generation of voters who are concerned about the safety and efficacy of vaccines.
Peterson agreed, stating that the issue is a critical one and that the Republican Party could benefit from taking a strong stance on it. He noted that the party has a chance to attract voters who are disillusioned with the Democratic Party and are looking for a new alternative. The conversation then turned to the topic of the Maha movement and its potential impact on the political landscape.
Oz noted that the movement is not just about vaccines, but about the broader issue of trust in institutions and the role of experts in shaping public policy. He believes that the movement has the potential to bring about significant change and that it is an opportunity for the Republican Party to take a strong stance on an issue that is important to many Americans.
Peterson agreed, stating that the movement is a critical one and that it has the potential to bring about significant change. He noted that the party has a chance to attract voters who are disillusioned with the Democratic Party and are looking for a new alternative.
Oz noted that his podcast is focused on exploring topics in depth and providing a platform for experts and thought leaders to share their ideas and perspectives.
Peterson agreed, stating that the new media landscape is changing the way we consume information and that podcasts and other online platforms are providing a new way for people to engage with important issues. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, check out YouTube channel, and just remember, subscription is only £1 or $1 per month. Leave a comment or review. Until next time, happy listening.